Shalom Uvracha from Yerushalayim, Yer HaKodesh. This coming Shabbat is the day before Rosh Chodesh, the day before the beginning of the new month in the Jewish calendar. As such, there is a specially chosen Haftarah, a special prophetic reading taken from the 20th chapter of Samuel 1, from the 20th chapter of Shmuel Aleph. The Haftarah is the Haftarah of Shabbat Erev Rosh Chodesh, and is referred to as the Haftarah of Machar Chodesh. It is indeed quite unusual, perhaps even unparalleled, in the whole series of Haftarah readings, to have a special Haftarah for the day before a great day. We have many Haftarot on holidays, on special occasions, but that we should read a special Haftarah on the day before the great day is almost unparalleled. But such is the case when Shabbat is Erev Rosh Chodesh, as it is this coming Shabbat. Our Haftarah begins with verse 18 of chapter 20, wherein Jonathan, is telling David that tomorrow will be Rosh Chodesh. Vayomer lo Yehonatan Machar Chodesh. That's the beginning of the Haftarah. Since the next day was to be the beginning of the new month, there will be a festive royal meal, at which time David's absence will surely be noted by King Saul. In several places in our Haftarah, there's a reference to a very special feast in honor of Rosh Chodesh. It's very clear from the Haftarah that Shaul HaMelech, that King Saul, was accustomed to celebrate Rosh Chodesh together with many of his dignitaries. The beginning of the new month was celebrated. And thus we learn from our Haftarah about one of the beautiful ancient customs which eventually became part of halakha, part of normative Jewish law that we try to observe until today. Although it doesn't say so explicitly as a law, we see from the Haftarah that they celebrated Rosh Chodesh with meals. And indeed, in the Code of Jewish Law, in Shulchan Aruch Orach Chaim, there are only 5 words in this entire chapter of the Code of Jewish Law. I wrote in my notes here. Maybe everyone should at least know one chapter of Shulchan Aruch by heart, right? I think that's a good thing to do. There, would it be nice? Like one chapter of the Code of Jewish Law by heart. I would like to recommend that we begin our careers in such endeavors with chapter 419 of Orach Chaim, Siman Taf Yud Tet. The reason is because it only has 5 words in it. And the 5 words are Mitzvah Laharbot B'Seudat Rosh Chodesh. Not difficult to memorize that, right? Mitzvah, the question is, why did he set this up as a separate chapter? That you have to ask great scholars. But that's the Siman. Siman Taf Yud Tet, Mitzvah Laharbot B'Seudat Rosh Chodesh. It is a mitzvah to have an elaborate meal on Rosh Chodesh. Our Haftarah is one of the earliest sources for this notion. At the beginning of every month, we are to gather together at a festive meal where we thank God for having given us another month of life. Wow, it's so beautiful to sit together on Rosh Chodesh. Baruch Hashem, we were given the blessing of life of another month, and where we can pray for special blessings for the coming month. We can review the accomplishments and perhaps also the failures of the previous month and begin anew Rosh Chodesh, Hitchadshut, Chodesh Chadash, celebrating new beginnings with fulfillment of the Rosh Chodesh banquet. The Midrash Psikta quoted by the Tur in the laws of Rosh Chodesh, teaches that the costs, let's say you're going to have a special meal on Rosh Chodesh, well, the cost of that meal is taken from a different account. He writes that the costs of the Rosh Chodesh celebrations are taken from a heavenly fund, a heavenly account, beyond the regular budgeted allowances of the rest of the year. In his words, Kol mizonotav shel adam kitzuvim lo mirosh Hashanah v'ad Rosh Hashanah. It's a designated amount of money a person is allotted from one year to the next. Chutz, but there are exceptions to that. There's something which is from a different place. Mima shemotzi b'shabbatot v'yamim tovim v'rashei chodashim. The Rosh Chodesh account is from a different place. And some of my earliest childhood memories from my father, Zatzal, I studied in his elementary school, and I have friends, Baruch Hashem, today in Eretz Yisrael. Hashem should bless them. We studied together in Yeshivat Ohel Moshe, and we remember together. We often reminisce about the Rosh Chodesh meals in Ohel Moshe. You know, it's a long time ago. I wasn't in elementary school yesterday. It was a long time ago, and we still remember the flavor of the differences in the dining room. Rosh Chodesh. Everybody knew Rosh Chodesh. Everybody knew the special menu for the Rosh Chodesh meal. I guess, in a certain sense, everyone should try to continue that in the spirit of our Haftarah. We're describing this special banquet of Rosh Chodesh, and not only did the king and the royal family and the royal court involve themselves in a Rosh Chodesh happening, many readings of our Haftarah and many readers of our Haftarah note that David's excuse, if you remember, David is not going to be there. So what is he going to say when Yonathan has to explain, where is David? So that's right. He said, David's excuse for not being at the king's Rosh Chodesh feast was that he had to go home to his family, to Bethlehem. He had to go to Bethlehem to celebrate the family festival, seemingly of Rosh Chodesh together. According to certain understandings of our Haftarah, our chapter is exposing us to yet another ancient custom of having a family member unit of a unison of a celebration, of a joint celebration together at least once a month on Rosh Chodesh. When asked, you see the Haftarah, when asked in sentence 27 of our chapter, why exactly, Shaul asks Yonatan, why exactly was David missing? Where was David? Yonatan explained, Jonathan tells his father, that David had asked for special permission to join his family. Nish'al David me'imadi ad Bethlehem. He wanted to go home to Bethlehem. Vayomer shalcheni na, please allow me, please dismiss me. Ki zevach mishpacha, beautiful words. Ki zevach mishpacha lanu bayeh. We have a family gathering. I believe that this biblical idea of a Rosh Chodesh gathering, of a family gathering, should be reviewed and carried out in as many families as possible. Wouldn't it be so beautiful? Wouldn't it be so bonding to have a family unit, to have a family circle every Rosh Chodesh, where parents and children, parents-in-law and children-in-law, where uncles and aunts, nephews and nieces, cousins, grandparents and grandchildren could all join together in a holy celebration of Rosh Chodesh. Shabbat is a time for family gatherings, but so often it's difficult on Shabbat to get the family together. So many family members live at great distances from each other. Since it's prohibited, according to halakha, to travel on Shabbat, Rosh Chodesh becomes an ideal time for the unification and reunification of family. Ki zevach mishpacha lanu. We honor and we celebrate family Rosh Chodesh gatherings once a month. The family can renew in the spirit of Chodesh, of Chadash, of Itchadshut, their great love for each other, their great commitment to each other. They can learn to appreciate their particular family. In the Musaf prayer of Rosh Chodesh, we make mention of the fact that Rosh Chodesh is a time of atonement for all of the offspring of the Jewish people. Rashi Chodashim Lamcha Natata Zman Kapara L'chol Toldotam. You, God, have given Rosh Chodesh, the new months, to your people, a time of atonement for all their offspring. If indeed we mention Toldotam, then maybe Rosh Chodesh is the time of the atonement for all generations. Maybe it's a time to connect to children, to grandchildren, to great-grandchildren, in the Rosh Chodesh spirit, in the spirit of Zman Kapara L'chol Dotam. Maybe we could try to make time to spend with our family on Rosh Chodesh, deliberate efforts to show love to our descendants on this very day. Maybe we could meet them for lunch or for dinner. Maybe we can Skype them if we can't be together. Maybe you should call every grandfather and grandmother every Rosh Chodesh. Maybe it's a time to call cousins on Rosh Chodesh. Maybe we can have a joint Rosh Chodesh excursion. Maybe if you can't meet them, at least a conference call, Rosh Chodesh. Wouldn't it be beautiful once in a while? A Rosh Chodesh conference call. In the spirit of David HaMelech, in the spirit of Shaul HaMelech, in the spirit of the Haftarah of Shabbat Erev Rosh Chodesh. Rosh Chodesh is a special time for family. And maybe if we can emphasize the Zevach Mishpacha, maybe in a certain sense we are carrying out the messages that are included in the Haftarah of Shabbat Erev Rosh Chodesh. Thank you so much for listening. Shabbat Shalom. Chodesh Tov U'Mubarak.